Peter Dutton is the Defence Minister of this country and he's doing a magnificent job in that portfolio, but particularly how he has stepped up and he's made sure that Australians who need help getting out of Afghanistan have been able to get out of Afghanistan, and also the Afghanistani people who were helping us, be it either the Defence Forces or the security in and around our embassy. We had a chance to chat in Canberra a bit earlier today, and the first question I asked him was, how many people do we have left to go?
The latest number is about 1,800, and that's a pretty significant number, and we're proud of that. We've worked very closely with the Americans, with the Brits and with the New Zealanders who helped us lift some people in one of their C-130s overnight. So there's a collaborative effort, but it's tough on the ground, to say the least.
So those people that were able to get out of Kabul, they end up going somewhere else. Will they stay and go through a level of processing, or they hit Australia pretty quickly?
There's firstly a sort of a screening process that takes place at the airport or over the phone with people that might have a visa, different ways in which people can get to the airport. And obviously that's been well publicised about the crowds at the gate and the fence, etc. So the logistics there are difficult, but people are brought into the airport and they're screened by the Home Affairs staff and by the DFAT staff. People are then taken to our Minhad, which is our our military base in the United Arab Emirates, and there's further screening done there, including checks biometrically. So all of that will be done. And that gives us the greatest level of assuredness that we're not bringing anybody to our country that we don't want to, because it is obviously a dangerous part of the world and people will be trying it on and giving false documents. And we need to make sure that we're bringing, the people who are most in need of care and help and support, and that we're turning away those that would pose a threat to us.
Now, there are different ways different countries are doing this, and I'm sure there's a limit to what you're going to tell me here, but are Australian troops going outside of the airport and going into the streets of Kabul to help escort those people to the airport, or are we following what seems to be the publicised American position, which is you've got to get yourself to the airport, we can't come and get you?
Well, Paul, obviously, as you know, the operation's still underway at the moment, but there are overt and covert ways in which we can operate. Our policy has been not to allow people to go beyond the walls of the airport. You will have seen footage, though, of Australians being identified back in the queue, and our soldiers have advanced forward to bring them through the gate. So that's been the reality of what's happening on the ground, but there's a lot of other effort, obviously, that's taken place. And if you want a job done, you ask an Australian Defence Force soldier to do it, and they get it done. So I'm just incredibly proud of the work that they're doing, and I just want them back safe and sound as soon as possible.
Yeah, bloody oath. Now, we've heard all different pockets of groups who different parts of the media have been focused on. Certainly viewers of this station will know a lot about the group of people that were either working as the security of the embassy or had worked as interpreters for the ADF. How many of those have we been able to get, and how many are still to go?
Well, again, Paul, we haven't released the breakdown of the numbers, but considerable numbers in all of those categories that you've spoken of. In particular, the highest value people to us, and obviously outside of Australian citizens and New Zealand nationals, are those that have helped us during the course of this conflict. And there are people who have been involved over a long period of time that have saved Australian lives, including interpreters, but not limited to interpreters. There are others, obviously, that are of value to our intelligence networks, and we've been able to secure safe passage for many of them.
And just finally, in Parliament today, like always, you spoke very passionately, and I thought pretty beautifully from the heart, about the pride that you have for everyone who's served in the past 20 years in Afghanistan. We know that there'll be moves from all the obvious cultural and political groups to pretend that everything was hopeless, there's no point in everything, to disgrace the service of those particular men and women. But I just want to give you the chance again here on telly to talk about the pride you have of everyone who's been able to wear the uniform and how this country should view those who served in Afghanistan.
Thanks, Paul. Well, I mean, a couple of points. Firstly, obviously thoughts and prayers are with those serving in Kabul at the moment, but as importantly, the parents and the spouses, the kids, the mates who are here in Australia, they will be anxious about their loved ones and their mates from their unit returning as quickly as possible. And they are as proud as we are of the work that they're doing. But, you know, there'll be kids going to bed tonight worried about whether mum or dad is going to make it home safely. So, you know, we should put it all into perspective. And we've had 39,000 Australian troops work in Afghanistan. I have no doubt in my mind, having worked very closely in the Home Affairs portfolio and the counter-terrorism space for a long period of time, that we have stopped terrorist attacks in our country. We haven't had a 9/11 terrorist attack in Australia, a plane flying into the CBD in Sydney or in Melbourne or Brisbane or Perth. We haven't had the barbaric behaviour that we've seen of ISIL in the Middle East in our country because of the efforts of those 39,000 and the sacrifice that their families have made for them.
That is the Defence Minister, Peter Dutton. Now, I should have pointed out that my question wasn't about how many remain, but how many have we got out. I apologise. So 1,800 is the number that have come out thus far.